There are moments we notice not because they are loud, but because everything else goes quiet around them. This was one of those rooms, chandeliers steady, glasses raised, applause waiting for permission. Ivy Harrington was standing near the back of the ballroom, close enough to hear every word, far enough to be overlooked. She worked in hospital compliance, a job built on watching systems fail people quietly. What happened to her that night mattered because it didn't look dramatic at first. It looked acceptable. This is how she remembers it. The microphone popped once. Sharp, before my father smiled into it. Leonard Harrington didn't look at me when he spoke. He held up the passbook between two fingers like it might stain him. "This," he said, letting the word stretch, "is what confusion looks like after a long life." A few people laughed. Someone near the front clinked a glass. He glanced down at the cover, pretending to read. Sentimental clutter. The kind that weighs families down when they should be moving forward. I took a step toward the stage. He didn't notice. Leonard lowered the book into the champagne bucket beside him. Ice cracked. Liquid sloshed. He released it and straightened. Satisfied. Trash belongs with trash. Something in my chest locked. Not pain. Pressure. I reached the bucket before anyone stopped me. Cold bit hard. Immediate. My fingers closed around soaked leather. When I pulled it out, champagne ran down my wrist, darkening the silk of my dress. My father turned then. "Ivy," he murmured, "the way you speak to staff who've missed a cue. You don't have to make a scene." "I'm not," I said. My voice surprised me. Steady. "I'm just taking what's mine." A beat passed. Cameras clicked. Someone cleared their throat. From where we stood, it was already clear who the room believed. The book was heavy in my hand, not with money. With years of being told to stay small, I walked out. For a moment, we could see what no one else reacted to, yet power changing shape without announcing itself. Outside, the night air hit my face. I didn't look back. Not once. 3 days later, the city felt indifferent in the way New York does best. The lobby was cool, all pale stone and muted voices. Shoes whispered across the floor. Phones buzzed and stopped. I held the passbook inside a clear sleeve, my thumb pressing against the seam like it might drift away if I loosened my grip. At the desk, a young associate looked up. Her smile landed, practiced and brief. "How can I help you today? I need to check the balance on this." The words came out smaller than I expected. She took the sleeve with 2 fingers, careful. Her nails were pale pink, chipped at the edges. She typed. Paused. Typed again. Her eyes flicked to the screen. Then back to the numbers. Then stilled. "Just a moment," she murmured, already standing. I stayed where I was. A man behind me sighed. Somewhere a printer jammed. She returned with someone older. He didn't sit. He leaned in. Quiet. Close enough that I caught the scent of coffee on his breath. "Please come with us." The room they led me into was plain. Table. 2 chairs. No art. The door closed with a soft click that felt louder than it should have. He slid a folder across the table and looked at me like I'd stepped out of the wrong life. "We've been waiting for this account to surface." My chest tightened. Not fear. Recognition. For a second, we noticed how still she went, how the waiting finally ended without ceremony. I pressed my palms flat on the table and nodded. The man who stayed standing finally pulled out a chair and sat across from me. He opened the folder slowly, like he didn't want to startle whatever was inside. This account was established in the early 1980s. He began, his voice was even, practiced, by Frederick Sloan. I felt my shoulders drop before I meant to. My grandfather's name always did that. He slid a document closer. "It's a Totten trust, early equity positions, technology, the kind people didn't take seriously at the time." Another page, then another. Dividends were reinvested. No withdrawals. No distributions. I watched his mouth instead of the paper, a habit from work. When you're waiting for bad news, you look for where it will land. The current balance, he continued, pausing just long enough to matter, is 37,800,000. The words didn't register all at once. They came in pieces. 37,800,000. I let out a breath I hadn't noticed I was holding. He leaned back slightly, giving me space without asking for it. You're the sole beneficiary. No secondary names. No trustees listed beyond the original designation. I ran my thumb along the edge of the table. The laminate was peeling there. Someone had tried to fix it once and missed a spot. Is there anyone else connected to it? My voice sounded clinical, like I was back at work, reviewing an incident report. He shook his head. Just you. We could tell, in that pause, that something shifted. Not excitement, not relief. Just the moment someone realizes the ground has changed and hasn't decided where to stand yet. I nodded once. Okay. He closed the folder but didn't take it away. Outside the room, phones rang. Somewhere, someone laughed. Life kept its distance. I sat there, hands still, thinking about a champagne bucket and a word my father liked to use. Trash. The room stayed quiet after he closed the folder. That's when the memory slipped in. Not invited, just there. I was 13, bare feet on cold wood. My father's study smelled like lemon polish and something sweet gone sharp. Leonard tipped his glass. Slow. Deliberate. Red wine spread across the floor. He looked at me. Clean it. Cole was on the couch, controller in his hands, laughing at something on the screen. No one asked him to move. I knelt, paper towels soaked through fast. My fingers turned pink, then stung. You missed a spot, Leonard said, calm, almost bored. Men build, women maintain. That's how things last. The door creaked. My grandfather stepped in, took one look at the floor, then at me. Let her stand up, he said. His voice wasn't loud. It didn't need to be. Leonard's jaw tightened. Touch her, and I'll have you evaluated. You want that my grandfather didn't move. Neither did I. We noticed how small she made herself then, how quickly she learned what silence could buy her. The bank chair shifted beneath me. Leather this time. Clean. No spills. I opened my eyes and pressed my feet flat on the floor. Different room. Same rule. Only now. I wasn't kneeling. Noah had spread the papers across the kitchen island before I even took my coat off. Our apartment smelled like burnt toast and printer ink. The window was cracked open, letting in the sound of traffic from the street below. Sit, he said, already scrolling. Just sit. I did. The chair scraped louder than it should have. He turned the screen toward me. Lines of numbers, names that repeated too often, dates that didn't line up. This isn't growth. He went on, tapping once. It's circulation, same funds moving through different shells, over and over. I leaned closer. My reflection hovered in the dark of the monitor, faint and split. The foundation loans to a holding company. The holding company pays back a bridge loan. That loan props up another account long enough to look liquid. He paused, then added, quieter. It only works if no one asks where the money started. I swallowed. How bad is it? He exhaled through his nose. There's an audit notice. Federal. And personal guarantees tied to him. Not the foundation. My hands curled in my lap. I felt the same pressure I'd felt in the ballroom. Different shape. Same weight. He's upside down, Noah said. 65 million or so. If he doesn't get cash soon, everything collapses. The room went still. Even the street noise faded for a beat. We could hear it then, the moment when understanding arrived without relief. My phone buzzed on the counter. Dad! Noah didn't look at it. That's not a coincidence. I stared at the screen until it stopped vibrating. Then it rang again. I picked up. "Hello?" His voice came through smooth, almost kind. "Ivy, we need to talk about your grandfather's place." He talked like this was a courtesy. "I've been thinking," my father continued, voice smooth, paced, "about the Montauk place. It's a burden. Ivy. Old houses always are." I leaned against the counter. Noah stayed quiet, watching my face. "I can have someone manage a sale," Leonard went on. "Discreet. Fair market. You don't want property taxes, maintenance, storms. It adds up. I'm not selling," I said. The pause on the line was short, controlled. "Let's not be emotional," he replied. "You work in hospitals. You understand risk. Liquidity matters." I said no. Something shifted. His breath changed. The softness drained out. "You should be careful," Leonard said. "People ask questions when money moves suddenly, especially when it comes from elderly relatives." My grip tightened around the phone. "I have colleagues," he continued. "Compliance boards. Regulators. It would be unfortunate if someone misunderstood how that account came to be." Noah straightened. His jaw set. "You wouldn't," I said. Leonard laughed once. "Not warm. You're out of your depth. Ivy, that house was never meant for you to manage alone." We noticed how quiet she got there, how the room seemed to hold its breath with her. I let the silence stretch, counted it. 1 beat, 2. "I understand perfectly." I said, "I'm still not selling." The line went dead. I set the phone down slowly, like it might crack the counter if I wasn't careful. Noah spoke first. He scared. I nodded. My hands were steady now. That surprised me. "He didn't call to protect me," I said. "He called because he needs something." I looked at the window, at the reflection of our kitchen layered over the city, and he thinks I'll fold. I didn't move for a long time after that. I didn't call anyone back. I let the quiet work. It always had before. I waited a full day before calling him back. I kept my phone face down, let the screen stay dark. Noah didn't ask me to hurry. He just cleared space on the table and slid a yellow pad closer. When I finally dialed, my hand shook on purpose. Leonard answered on the first ring. "Ivy, I'm sorry," I began, letting my voice thin. I shouldn't have hung up. I didn't know what to say. He didn't interrupt. That mattered. "I went to the bank," I continued. "The account. It's not small. It's a lot." "How much?" The word came out too fast. I swallowed. 37,800,000. Silence, long enough to feel it press against my ear. "Listen to me carefully," he said at last. His tone shifted. Warm now, precise. "You don't sign anything. You don't talk to anyone. This kind of money draws attention." "I know," I said. "They mentioned taxes, audits. I don't understand any of it." "You don't need to," Leonard replied. "That's why I'm here. I can shelter it under the foundation, classify it properly, make it disappear from the noise." We noticed how easily the fear left his voice once he believed she was afraid instead. I let out a small breath. "Could we do it soon?" "Yes." He said, "There's a gala this weekend. Private suite. Bring the documents. I'll handle the rest." "Thank you," I said, "for fixing this. That's what fathers do," he replied. The call ended. The room felt larger without his voice in it. Noah looked at me, already reaching for the pad. He took it. I nodded. The tremor left my hands. "He didn't hear me," I said. He heard the version of me he needed. I sat down and started writing what we'd actually bring with us. The suite smelled like citrus cleaner and old carpet. Someone had tried to make it feel private by lowering the lights. It didn't work. The noise from the ballroom still pressed through the walls, applause swelling and breaking in waves. Leonard took the folder from my hands before I finished offering it. Blue leather. Heavy. He flipped it open, standing up. "You're late?" he said. eyes already scanning for the line he wanted. "Is everything here?" "Yes," I answered. "Exactly what you asked for." He paused on the first page. The title slowed him for half a second. "Affidavit of Historical Financial Responsibility," he read aloud, frowning. "Why does it say that I kept my voice even? That's how legacy assets get grandfathered in. The bank requires it for accounts that old." He nodded, satisfied enough. The pen appeared from his pocket. "Black. Expensive." He signed without sitting down. "There," Leonard said, handing the folder back like it was suddenly mine to manage again. "Go find a seat. I'm about to make an announcement." We noticed the way his shoulders loosened as soon as the ink dried, how relief arrived before caution ever did. I stepped aside and took my phone out. One photo. Clear. Sent. Leonard was already on stage, smiling into the lights. "Tonight," he announced, voice bright, "we expand the Harrington Foundation with a commitment of $37 million. The screen behind him flickered. The logo vanished. A federal notice filled the space. Asset seizure. Case reference. Names spelled correctly. The applause collapsed into a sound I hadn't heard before. Not silence. Confusion. Men in dark jackets moved down the aisle. Leonard turned, still smiling, then not. "This is a mistake," he said, gripping the microphone. "Do you know who I am?" "We do," one of them replied. "Step away from the podium." He looked at me then. "For the first time all night." "You," Leonard said. "You did this." I didn't answer. I watched them take the microphone from his hand and lead him away while the room forgot how to breathe. The cottage in Montauk creaked the first night I stayed alone, wind off the water, old pipes knocking once, then settling. I slept on the couch with the windows cracked and woke up before dawn, the room gray and quiet. The trust paperwork moved forward without me hovering. Independent management, no calls from reporters. I kept my job, took the subway, filed reports, normal things. Cole showed up once. He stood on the porch, hands in his pockets, eyes skidding past mine. "If you pull it back," he said, not looking at me, "we can fix some of this." "I'm not fixing it." I told him. "I'm finished with it." He nodded like he understood. He didn't. Later. I burned the last copy of the affidavit in the sink. The paper curled, blackened, disappeared. I washed the ash away and dried my hands on a towel that had seen better days. I stood there and realized something simple. Ivy Harrington didn't become powerful. She became harder to erase. That was the change. It stayed. I locked the door, stepped outside, and watched the tide come in. If this story sits with you, if it leaves a mark, you know where to find the rest. We stayed quiet at the end, the way rooms do after everything important has already been said.